Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode, part 7. So, in this episode, I'm going to be talking about the wanting and needing everyone to like me part of the topic, which is, narcissist salesman, wanting and needing everyone to like me, disliking sobriety, and all that's impact on my work for DLA, the pleasure matrix, and its goals. Okay, so as a narcissist, on the last episode I talked about self-talk, and I've been thinking a lot about, the doomer mindset that goes into negative self-talk, and just, something that I've occupied during my time here that hasn't really served anyone, very least of all myself. It hasn't served DLA or the pleasure matrix. It's just my doomer mindset, kind of thinking everything is going to be bad, and just, being bummed out and expressing displeasure at things, and just, being a pessimist and just crazy. And I feel like people who are narcissist bad boys, or at least just talking about myself, when we have a doomer mindset, when we're like all down on ourselves, really, because at the end of the day, it's like us being down on ourselves, that means that we really value being liked by people, because it's that kind of validation that, we use as a drug. So, talking about sobriety here as well, we use validation from others as a drug so that we don't have to, be so down on ourselves, I guess. And this isn't like me doing like pop psychology. This is just what I, if I'm thinking about kind of like this prompt, like what comes up for me. Not really trying to have, I just want to, this is just what's going on in my life. And problems come up with that in men. When a man thinks it's more important to be liked than to be respected, that's not a trustworthy man. That's not a man you can put a bunch of trust in, who is, going to change up based on opportunistically in order to feed his want and need to be liked. That is not a trustworthy man. That's not a man you can build around. It's not a man who, is going to provide a tent pole on which you can hang a tent. Do you hang a tent on a tent pole? That you, I always used to say build the tent. Set up a tent around that pole, that that thing that isn't going anywhere, that's gonna stay strong and true. That's the idea of what a man is, to be 100% solid, and let all the craziness go on around him, not be a source of craziness, not be a source of insobriety. Not that, the goal is to have a bunch of other people being sober around him, but being so stable that it allows, a little bit of controlled chaos or whatever, just, some of the softer arts. That's what a man needs to be. Really upright, erect. Stupid. A bad boy who wants to be liked and not respected. If we're putting now I have a past of kind of eschewing respect in order to be liked, or just, and being liked is extremely short term, and something that I've always done is gone for the short term satisfaction over the long term reward, I'll say. So going for the really, that's what pleasure, irrational pleasure-seeking behavior, or just like, that's a big part of drug addiction and sex addiction, is just like going for that momentary feeling instead of trying to build a life where you can have long-term contentment. So, and I think that respect builds the opportunity for long-term contentment. And this is, it comes from ourselves, because self-esteem is like what you think about yourself and how you feel about yourself. And self-respect is like what you respect about yourself. And I've had trouble with self-respect. And setting lines for myself and having principles and say, you know what? In order to achieve these ends, I am not going to do this, this, and this. Prioritizing the how over the what. Big problem in my life. I'm like, well, the ends justify the means. I'll just go about this any which way that I'm going to go about it. That's why as a child, lying was me using the ends to justify the means, not worrying so much about the means. Now, the thing about that is that if you don't worry about the means, the ends are not going to be actually what you want. It might seem like what you want. It might be the hypnotic desire. It's never actually the real desire. The capital D desire, a want and a need. It is never that. So now I am trying to move out of wanting to be liked, because you'll do very unsober things in order to be liked. I was a little bit of a class clown growing up, and just the version of clown. A clown was like a huge thing in the underground art world when I was in it. It was like people were really into clown aesthetics. There's a great video of Total Freedom DJing dressed as a clown at Boiler Room, just to give you kind of like a peek at the culture. It was about being a clown, and I don't know. It's Total Freedom or whoever is a pretty likable person in the Pain Matrix. All of these DJs, all these kind of cool party people are likable. You like them, but you like them at the party. Are you going to, ask them to co-sign on a loan with you? Do you respect them? Are you going to follow them? Besides just following them on Instagram, are you going to follow a person who's like clowning for likes? Who's putting their ass on social media, literally or, figuratively, who's just, kind of whoring themselves out, which is what artists do. And it doesn't really work. So I'm not claiming that I'm above all of that programming. That programming is pretty deeply entrenched. But I put way too much energy in my life around being liked and less around being respected, which is a much healthier way for a man to operate, especially if he wants to be a leader. A person who's liked can't be a leader. They can play guitar at the party, or what. They can be like the the troubadour. They can't be a king. They can't have a castle. And being cool in general, like the idea of being cool, being a cool guy, which has been something that from my childhood I've given way too much credence to. I've cared way too much about being cool, and it's worthless. It's a worthless thing to care about, and yet I have cared about it. But for the bad boy, it's our trap. We get stuck in it. We can waste years of our life in it. We can do crazy things, do all the drugs, whatever. just, blowing up future prospects, blowing up future plans just in the pursuit of being cool. And that just means that, yeah, people like you. And that's one of the hardest things for a bad boy to do, is give up on people liking them and do the hard thing. Now, I've gone the other way and made people hate me, but not for the right reasons, because I am an attention addict. And that comes back to the sobriety. I'm addicted to attention. So if I can't get positive attention, I'll get negative attention. But it won't be for the right reasons. There's a good negative attention you can get by being in your principle. I mean, if you stand for life and you stand for Yahuwah and you're about being, if you're about building the pleasure matrix, you're going to get hated, because most people are on that tip. They're on the pain matrix tip. They're on the worshiping Satan tip. If you're going to go and do something different, sure, it's going to get you hate. But getting canceled for all the stupid ways that I've gotten canceled, not really the getting canceled for lying and just attention grabbing behavior, or just not attention for not being in my integrity rather than attention for being in my integrity. No matter what the lies are that people say about you, if you know you're being in your integrity 360 degrees, then no one can really touch you. And that's what gets respect. And it might be a long-term thing. It might not happen overnight that, being in your integrity is going to get you respect. First, it's going to get the respect of people who are dealing with you on a day-to-day basis, and then the respect of the public. And I don't really have that yet, that respect. But I recognize it's important, and it comes first, like I said, from self-respect. Being like, this is the how that I'm committed to. Really easy for me to get cloud poisoned and just be like, by the what. But the how but the how things come together is really important, and that's where kind of you have to have self-respect to guide that. But if you're just worried about being cool and looking cool and having the edgiest haircut or the edgiest profile pic, or a really satanic name, or just, making the craziest art or whatever, and what that says about you to other people, and that being the image that you're trying to promote, then you're never going to get any respect. I mean, can you really respect Eve's Tumor or Young Lean? You can like them, sure, but can you respect people who are blatantly satanic? I mean, respect is a dual thing. You can respect that they've committed to something horrendous, I guess. Can you respect is harder to come by, bro. It's a harder path. You earn respect by making choices, and they're not always easy choices. While believing in something and being principled and following something real. And a cool guy who's just cool, just trying to be cool, trying to be sexy and likable, doesn't believe in anything. And that's kind of part of the cool persona. If you look at any cool guy, part of it is the nihilistic, I'm too cool for that, man. If you're into it, I'm out of it. I don't care, man. Just whatever. Whatevs, bro. And people superficially like that. They're attracted to that because, the what do they say? The universe abhors a vacuum. So, if they see this vacuum of, something so compelling, this person who doesn't believe in anything, they're just a black hole, and you're, drawn into it. You're like, wow, I just, I want to And in relationships, it's like, hey, I want to fill that space of darkness that exists in that person. That's why cool people always try to get fixers around to try and fix them. Because, I don't know, at least in my day, you also communicated cool by being unhappy and dark and twisted and gross. It wasn't like you were being cool by just being like happy and, content and fulfilled. And in relationship, it was like you were cool by being this jaded, like, gross, devilish person, which I wasn't too shabby at doing that when I committed to that aesthetic and just being kind of gross. I did well at getting attention. Certainly got attention. Got a lot of different kinds of attention. Not quality attention. It was all really cheap attention that didn't go anywhere. But, I was able to create something out of that. But it was not respect. I don't think. I didn't gain any respect through there. Respect. Let's talk about respect a little bit and why it doesn't feel appealing. Respect is lonely at first, or at least it seems lonely to be respected, because when people like you, they're like, hey, respect is like, sometimes respect is someone not talking to you and not interacting with you because they respect you, or maybe they fear you, or whatever the thing is. Respect seems lonely. It's something. Now, it's something you have to maintain. You don't just get respect, but if you're living in your integrity, that's a permanent thing. Like, you can't be a brand new person every week like you can be if you're trying to be cool. You can't be BPD. You can't be bipolar. You can't switch up. You can't be too flexible. Respect is very inflexible. It's very permanent. It's long-term. Something that scares bad boys, scares me. We don't like commitment, so scary to us is like that idea. It's something that you have to keep, earning it. It's like you have to earn it. It's not just something that you just get. You have to earn it. It's a real thing. Being liked is temporal. It's quick. It's easy. It's not worth very much. It's cheap. You can flip it. You can buy it back. You can sell it. You can buy it back. You can just, It's not something that you can. It's not a durable good. It's a consumable. It's something that lasts It's cheap. It's not a durable good. It's not something you can keep with you that gains value over time. Coolness loses value over time. Respect gains value over time. Can an unsober person gain respect? Not only superficially. You really can't, and that's why sobriety is really like the first thing we do at DLA. It's like, well, all right, stop doing drugs, stop drinking, stop doing all these things, because like it's not gonna work for you. And so in the next episode, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about like, I've been talking a lot about myself. Narcissists love to do that, but I'm gonna talk a little bit about how that's worked out for DLA and how that's worked out for the pleasure matrix and its goals. Kind of like the last half of this prompt that I've been avoiding talking about is more like its effect on other people. I don't always like to talk about other people who are going to do it, get out of my comfort zone. And I'm going to talk about that. So, okay, great. Thank you. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you next week. Next strong. Come on. Get it together. Pleasure matrix. Bye.